Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Plot Twist podcast. It's been quite a while since we have spoken last, and I'm so glad to be back. And I don't ask me, I don't know how to explain this, except for a lot of life has happened. I have three kids, so it's been hectic, and other than that, I really don't know what to say. The months just flew by, and I'm afraid I haven't been here in months, so it's about time. Welcome back to my channel. This is a slow fashion podcast and just my little corner of the internet where I talk about knitting, about my knitting. That's what I do here. And today I have three finished objects for you and three works in progress. I'm only showing those that I'm actively working on. And yeah, I'm really excited. I I mean, I don't know. Life has been just very hectic over the last few months, but also in good ways. I don't know. It has just been so hard to squeeze in a podcast, and it's been bugging me because I really want. Oh, hold on, because I almost lost my cup there. Um, it's been bugging me just because I really wanted to come back here and talk to you and share my knitting and share my making and just life and just spend some time with you. But um, I don't know what happened. It's been a while. But today I'm back. Maybe I should introduce myself. So my name is Katharina, which is a German Catherine. And I am coming to you from the north of Germany, which is where my husband and I live with our family. We have three kids, like I just said, and we have moved here about a year and a half ago now. We've bought an old farm, but we're not farming. We are just slowly but surely renovating our building. So, yeah, that's also what's been taking up a lot of time. And with spring arriving, there's been a whole lot of gardening and work that we could finally do, and all that jazz. So, yeah, it's exciting. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So, everything, before I even get started, everything that I talk about today, you will find the links to in the description box below the video. I will link my Ravelry pages. And so, if you need any of that information, then just click down below on one of those links. If you are looking for information on one of the projects, yarns, whatever, and Ravelry is not accessible for you, then just or accessible to you. I don't know. Then just send me a message on Instagram or send me an email. You will also find all of those contact information pieces below in the description box as well. And I'll happily, send you the info you're looking for, uh, you know, on a different platform. Okay. Let me take a sip of my black tea because oh my god, it's early in the morning. Not early in the morning, but I have just dropped off my kids at school and kindergarten. And then I've gotten back home. My husband is away overnight for work, and so it's been I don't know, just our morning, and I've dropped off the kids, and I realized that this is going to be the day that I can podcast. So today is my little pocket of time, and I just had to make it work. So here I am. Haven't even had my tea yet. I'm sitting in my usual spot. I wanted to go outside. And I did film, that's also a bummer. I did film an episode, but I filmed it outside, and the lighting situation, which I only realized after, was not good. So it was really frustrating. And so I didn't use that footage because also there was no way that I could save that. It was sad. But it didn't work out, and yeah. So I wanted to film outside today, but it is rainy. Thank goodness that it is, but it's not ideal. And Yeah, I don't know. It's hardly ideal. So I'm indoors again in my usual spot in front of our fireplace. So that's that, but it smells heavenly outside because the linden trees, the lime trees are coming. um how do you say that? They're not, I'm looking at one over there. They're not even in like in full bloom, but it's now their syrup starts to drip and it smells so good, especially when it's just rained. And I smelled it this morning and I thought, oh my God, this is such a good smell. I went to sit under one of those trees the whole day long. It's a smell that reminds me so much of Berlin, which is my hometown, if you will. It's where I grew up. And yeah, it's beautiful. Anyway, this is not hand knit, so I don't have to share anything in terms of what I'm wearing. So I'm jumping right into my finished objects. And oh my God, I'm so tired today. Oh man. That's because I was up too late knitting and watching Sex and the City, if you must know. It's not my usual favorite show. Really, it isn't. But I just wanted to watch it. I just did. It's a summer thing. When it's hot, I mean, it's not today, but it was over the last few days. It was insanely hot. And then I have a certain repertoire of movies and shows that I want to watch. And I have a very strong urge, to do that. So the same as with winter and Christmas and, all that. So just like I have to watch When Harry Met Sally around New Year's Eve, I have to watch certain things as soon as it gets really, really warm outside because I'm not made for heat. I don't enjoy the heat at all. And summer is really my least favorite season. So I have to make sure that I have things that I associate with summer that I really, really, really enjoy. And a huge part of that is watching certain shows and movies. And that's why I allow myself to stay up a little bit late, watch this thing that I want to watch, keep on knitting a little bit, also in the evening when it's cooled down, when it's nice and fresh comparatively, and just soak that up a little bit more. But that also means that you're tired the next day. So, and I'm such an early riser. Sorry, I've become such an early riser with my kids that I cannot afford really to stay up late. I mean, not late, but later than usual. And but I did anyway. I'm living on the edge. Okay, so I have finished socks to share with you. Nothing much to say other than if you've been here before, you will have seen them before. And they're off my needles. I could hardly be happier. They're so fun. So the yarn is, I'm going to show one up close. The yarn is a Homespun House, one of her last year's 4 Sundays of Advent. Whoopsie. There we go. It may have been, it must have been the third week or the fourth. It doesn't matter. Maybe the fourth Sunday. I love this color here on top. It looks really cool, really fun. The other speckly color was so fun to knit up in a sock, and yet I wouldn't have known what to do with it, in a different project. So that's why I went for a sock on this superwash merino, which is something I usually don't do as a rule because I don't think that it's a good yarn for that, even if it says sock yarn. But like hand dyed merino nylon sock yarn is very delicate and it tends to be rather pilly, and you can walk holes in it so fast. But so I usually go for this sturdy German commercial sock yarn. But with this, I thought, why not knit a luxurious pair of socks and enjoy them over the winter? And I'm really looking forward to wearing them. I don't think that I have worn them already. Maybe, but I don't think so. But they have gotten soaked, and they're I'm really happy with them. I mean, like, they're really pretty. It's been a real pleasure knitting them up. I have to say that. So that's my socks. Then I finished a little garment, and maybe you will remember. Hold on, I have to hide the ends inside. They're woven in. Oh no, I'm not going to hide it because then you're not going to believe it. But so I have finished my little Nuke tee that I'm going to talk about the pattern in a second, but that I knit out of my, that's how it looks, but out of my mother-in-law's destashed leftovers. And that is this yarn. I'm going to show you. It is so it's a yarn that she bought at in Germany at Hamburger Wollfabrik, and um, it comes on a cone, and they make it so that it's not plied. Like, I'm gonna try and show you, but so that this, man, it was, you could see it so well just before. Ah, so that's what it looks like. See, it's it sort of comes in like two strands, but they're so they're not plied. They're just, I don't know, somehow squished together. I don't know. Um, but it's not an anything ply. It's just 16 very, very, very thin strands of yarn together. And it's amazing how it is easy to knit this up. So it's not super splitty, which you would expect, but it's okay. I don't remember the needle size that I knit this in, like probably 3.5 or something like that. But it was no problem whatsoever. And it was, even if it's a cotton yarn, and I don't do cotton, I don't knit with cotton because I'm sorry, but I hate it. I don't like the feel of it in my hands. Um, I mean, I don't mind cotton per se, but knitting with cotton is something I find so upsetting that I don't do it. But I did with this one because I liked the color. It's a marled affair with like white and this jeans blue, this denim blue. And I think it works. Like, it looks really fun, and it was fun to knit. What can I say? It was not, maybe because it's unplied. Maybe that's the game changer for me, because I even considered buying more of this. I mean, different color, etc., but for like a different, bigger project, a garment. And that is very unlike me. Maybe it is the fact that it's not plied and it's not so slippy, because I find cotton yarn to be so very slippy, but this was not. So I don't know, mystery, but this is my finished Nuke sweater, or tee rather. It's a pattern by Lina, which I purchased individually. And I've talked about this before, so I'm not gonna repeat my spiel here, but I have bought this because I mean, it's just a top-down raglan. So you're gonna be like, why are you buying that pattern? I did it because I didn't know how to knit a top-down raglan with this sort of neckline. And I've since been pretty disappointed because in one sentence, everything was explained to me, because you don't knit in the round immediately. Duh. Um, I didn't think of that. I should have thought about it just for a half a day longer before I bought the pattern, because then I wouldn't have had to buy it. But okay, I did anyway. I don't know why these top-down raglan patterns that are just top-down raglan, no pattern, no extras, no increases, decreases whatsoever for like shaping, why those are paid for. Just like with the no frills, because it doesn't make any sense to me. It's just common knowledge how you knit that, except when you don't know how to knit that, like me, with this particular neckline. So Okay. But that just goes to say, if you know how to knit this, you're not going to have to purchase the pattern. Okay. Because there is nothing more to it than just that. But now I have it and now I can use it. I've knit one of these in, if you remember, in my in this BC Garn Loch Lomond in the green, which I have like as a slip over. It's a non-superwash wool, so it's not super heavy, but it is warm enough. So, well, it's a good transitional season piece to wear over something with long sleeves, I would say. And now this, I used up the entire leftover cone that my mother-in-law gave me. And it's pretty cropped. I mean, I could wear it with jeans if I wanted to, but what I really want to do is wear it over a dress. So that was my idea because this is cotton, so it's going to be lighter. And when it cools down at night, you could put it on over a dress during summer and have that be your little extra thingy that you can, because our summers are not always that hot. I mean, it gets really hot, but and we have very hot summers, but we also have those summers or weeks over summer um, where, yes, it gets really warm throughout the day, but it really cools down in the evening. And then this comes into play. And so, yeah, I finished that. I don't know now how much yarn I used, but if you're interested, you can find it on my Ravelry page. I'm really happy with the color. I'm really happy with the fabric, and I wove in the ends, but I have not snipped them off because this has not been soaked yet. So I only snip those off when once this has really gotten a good soak and is dried completely. Then I will snip off the ends so that they don't move in the process and then they come poking through again. And now I have a fun one. I mean, if this wasn't fun enough, but now I have a fun one. Let me caffeinate with a sip. Alrighty. Alrighty, since I've just watched Sex in the City. Alrighty. I have a finished blanket to show you. And I mean, it's been finished for so many weeks now. It's ridiculous, but let me show you. I finished my habitation throw. I said it right. Yeah, habitation, not hibernate, habitation, which is the pattern by Helen Stewart. And I didn't understand all the craze about it before, but once I started knitting one, I did. I did understand it immediately. It's very addictive. It's very fun. It's easy peasy. But I have to say, if you do want to learn a good hack on how to knit your I-cord edge in the, you know, as you go in a way so that it doesn't run the risk of being too tight, this is going to be the pattern you need to buy. Okay? Because she tells you a way to knit your I-cord that I didn't know before. And so it's not an attached I-cord. You knit it as you knit the blanket. So when you bind off, you're done, right? And had I known this before, many a shawl would have had a stretchier edge. So it's it's a really fun pattern. Okay, let me show you. Ta-da! And I'm going to show you sideways because no, not sideways, but like yeah, sideways at an angle, but so that the stripes are right from tip to tip. You know what I mean? Because then you get to see everything like it was knit up. Okay, there it goes. These are the colors. This is all bound off and finished. So look, it's a bit more than my wingspan. So it's like a good meter 80, 85 centimeters. So 1 meter and 85 centimeters is what I guess. But don't quote me on that. Something in that neighborhood. because it's a bit more than my wingspan, maybe a meter 90. Yeah, I don't know what that is in like a good 6 feet. That is about 180. Yeah. Anyway, I started at this tip right there, and the plan was to use up all sorts of hand dyed, hand dyed merino leftovers or mini skeins from whatever swaps or advent calendars or just leftovers from projects that I didn't know what else to do with. And that included both like favorite colors, just like this is a Homespun House juniper, or these like my colors, these jewel tony purples, um, right here, you know, and lots of pinks and purples, you know. Um, and also colors that I was not fond of. I'm just gonna say it like it is, like browns, like this, browns and beiges and stuff like that, where I was like, yeah, okay, it's fun, it's speckly, it's fun to knit up, but I would never wear it. Not just because it's not my thing, you know? It will look amazing on someone else, but it's nothing I would put in a garment for me. Also, I wouldn't enjoy really putting it in a garment for my kids. This color that I remember where it came from. It was an advent calendar that I got a while ago. It was not a Homespun House, which is the only other calendar that I or brand that I ever purchased advent calendars from, I think. And I remember, I'm not going to say which one it is, but I remember I was kind of disappointed with that one. And that was like one of those muddy colors. There were plenty of those in there. And I thought, what am I going to do with that? And I put them all in here because I thought this is going to be where these colors are going to be loved and treasured just along with all of those other ones. I don't want to have a pile of minis that I'm unhappy with because I purchased them as a sort of blind date situation, like in a calendar, and I didn't know, and now I'm unhappy because that's stupid. I don't want that. And I thought I have to create a space for them where they're all equally loved and useful and beautiful. And they are, because like in their interplay, it's all good. There's none that sticks out for me where I'm like, "Ooh, I don't like that color," except when I showed you this blanket last. That was my last podcast, whenever that was. But I had just knit, where was that? Like somewhere around here. I had just knit in a stripe that was orange. And I'm not an orange person. I don't like orange. But again, I thought just because I don't love orange and wouldn't wear it ever, um, it would look hideous on me, but also because I really don't like the color orange. I I mean, why not put it in here and it has a home and it can live happily ever after with all the other colors and it will just blend in. But no, it did not. It did not. It bothered me. And I bound off, or I was about to. Like I was literally at the tip, about to bind off. And then I asked my family, I said, guys, is it me? Or is there one thing wrong with this entire project? And I asked my husband, and he is not picky, but he said, well, the orange kind of has to go. It looks funny. And I said, well, thank you, because yeah, that's exactly what I think. So I took it out, and again, it's going to find its project and it's going to be pretty. You know, that's not that's not my concern, but it didn't make sense in here. It didn't. So I took it back out. I was convinced it was going to be no problem whatsoever, but of course it was. And I took it out and I replaced it with I don't know what, something else. And so this, hold on, I think this must have been the last bit that I knit up when I picked the blanket back up. So you see, I mean, the row is still pretty long down here, but then it gets shorter relatively quickly. And so the bulk of the project was already done when I picked this up, because this had been in hibernation for just a few months. I don't know, maybe a half a year. these things are long-term projects for me, so I don't sweat it. Like it's okay if they take their time. And now I know this is not a neat pile by any means, but this is my finished blanket. I could not be happier. And I'm also pretty happy that it's off my needles because now I get to cast on another blanket. I'm in the process of finishing one, not really actively now. I have, since we've last spoken to one another, I have worked on it, but now it's been dismissed again for a few weeks, um, because I don't know what to do color wise towards the end. But so that's a different discussion. But I have a whole lot of so that is now future knitting. I have a whole lot of hand spun skeins that are sort of tryout spins where I'm just learning how to spin and or using a fiber for the first time, and I kind of see how I like it. So how to spin it, how to, because I also have a fleece that I prepare from scratch, where I tested out whether I like um, the shorter hairs, the shorter staple length or not, as combined with the longer parts of the fleece. So, and those are just to try out and learn and see how I like the result. And so I'm not going to knit a garment with those first skeins, but I want to have a place for them, like a home for them, and to also just, I mean, use up the yarn that I have produced because that's why I did it. Um, and just not discard them because they're beginner pieces and just my were like my playground for like just trying things out. And I also want to remember that stage of my spinning. Not that I've progressed so far away from that, but in 20 years, I will be a different spinner and it will be fun to have that blanket to look back. So I want to knit a blanket out of those. And I think I have enough yarn to make it a nice sized blanket. And my question is, do you have any fun blanket patterns that you would recommend? Please no crochet because I'm not going to crochet. I mean, I think I'm a good crocheter, but it's hard on my shoulders and it gives me a headache. And I haven't found a solution to that problem yet. So I can only crochet small projects, and a blanket is a big project. So it has to be a knitted garment. No, blanket, not garment. That's the entire point. So it has to be a knitting blanket, a knitted blanket. And if you have ideas, I mean, obviously, I also have ideas, but if you have ideas where you're like, this is my favorite pattern, just please leave me a comment down below because I'm still I'm still thinking. I have ideas, but they obviously haven't convinced me 100% yet. Yeah. So if you do have any tips, let me know. They'll be much appreciated. Now my yarn is stuck. Now onto my work. Oh no, hold on. Works in progress. I wanted to say, but I realized that I forgot something. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I just had to fetch my sock because I finished one sock. And so it's a bit of a shorty sock. I cast on 60 stitches as per usual on my 2.25 millimeter needle, knitted 2x2 ribbing for 14 rounds, and then my leg, and this is just like 30 rounds or something. My heel flap and gusset, and just a sock. And I have cast on another, here it is, here it was. Okay. Chaos. Creative chaos on my Addi Flexi Flips. That's those. I chose those because all of my other needles were already on some project. It's okay. I've gotten used to it, but I don't know. It's a bit of a weird concept. And it's not so bad that I won't grab them. It's okay, but it's also a little weird. So anyway, this is my new sock. Nothing to write home about except for there's a tiny little cute tea kettle hanging there. I hope you can see. That's my stitch marker, which now just marks the beginning of round, but I'll push it up and I use it to count rows. Um, yeah, which because I have done it, I don't know, 200 times um, or more, uh, 300 times probably. I don't know. That does help me keep track of what I'm doing, even if to everyone else it wouldn't make sense probably. But so yeah, that's my sock project. The colors, I can talk to you about the colors. So I'm using this opal yarn, which I have to say I'm not really crazy about. I thought it was going to be prettier, TBH. So that's it. It is opal yarn that I just so when about 2 months ago maybe my husband had a doctor's appointment in a city that was like a 2 hours drive away, and so we all went and made a day of it because we had all never been. And while he was at his appointment, my kids and I we just went through the kind of the old part of that little city, and it was really pretty and it was a lot of fun. And on the way back, we ran into a little yarn store, and they had opal at a discount. So like they had a 4 pack. It was like buy 4 pay 3, something like that. And I thought, okay, why not? Because I've always enjoyed opal yarn, and I felt like knitting a few socks for Christmas. And it's a bit of a Christmas in July sort of situation because I'm knitting them now. This is going to be a gift. I don't know who I'm going to gift this to yet, but this is definitely going to be a gift, not a keeper. Not because of the yarn, but because I decided I'm going to knit a few gift socks. And so yeah, I thought opal was going to be a good choice, and it is, right? I stand by that. The color, yeah, and this is the collection, the Hundertwasser collection. So Hundertwasser is a painter. Um, you always see this little painting on the ball band, and then that's what they base their colorway off of. And the color number is 3203. Okay, if you're interested, that's that. And I paired it, and I'm really happy I did because otherwise I think it would have been the the aspects of the color about the colorway that I don't really enjoy with this one would have become all the more obvious if I hadn't paired it with this um, pink tweed yarn, which I thought was such a good combination that I just had to go for it. So that is Lana Grosser Meilenweit. Lana Grosser Meilenweit. So a German commercial sock yarn, number 175. So they're tweed base, color 175. And that's what I used for contrasts. And that's that. So that's one pair of socks. And then I have another to show you. Oops. It's a bit chaotic today because I tried to put everything on here, but I don't know if that was such a good idea. So I am knitting another opal sock. I'm going to show you the ball band first before I forget. It's also like their Hundertwasser collection. It smells good. I don't know why though. I think I bought it that way. It smells a little weird, but also good. So it's so you see that the painting down here. Oops. And it's again the Hundertwasser collection, and it's the color 4054. This yarn, I have to say, I enjoy much more. It's called, oh, the painting is called Abschied aus Afrika. So, um, goodbye from Africa, sort of. Hold on. So whereas the ends are woven in with that first sock that I bound off there, this is a totally different situation because apparently I didn't do that, even though it's just these two ends. Um, but I didn't. I haven't even Kitchener to. Oh yeah. So I was somewhere on the go and I couldn't Kitchener the toe together, but I wanted to cast on the new sock where I'm losing stitches, and um, and so I just pulled the yarn through with the intention of going back, putting it back on the needle, blah blah blah, and so blah blah blah. But maybe I'm just gonna pull tight and weave in the ends like I used to, like I learned from my grandmother. I don't know. I'll just decide that when the day comes. How lazy I am, but I did basically the exact same thing as with the other sock, except I knit a longer leg. So that's it. I have to say I really enjoy the colors. I mean, those are really fun. Hope you can see in the light. I think those are really fun, and it's got a very, very, very long repeat. This, no, oh no, I made a mistake there, but yeah, the leg is the leg is one color repeat, a little a little bit less, but a little bit less than the leg, but it's a long repeat, and that makes it really fun. And you have color changes almost every round. So it's really fun. I cast on again 60 stitches, 2x2 ribbing for 14 rounds. Then I switched to a 3x1 for 55 rounds for the leg, heel flap and gusset, foot, toe, end of story. So that's that. That's my sock. And I made it so that it's a little bit too short for me because then it will fit almost every other woman I know. And so I usually have like one size bigger than my friends, and um, yeah, if it is a little too snug for me, a little just too small for me, then it's right for them. And also here, I was a very good girl and cast on my other sock immediately. This one and also the other. I'm always knitting on those when I am out and about. So I'm not much of a sock knitter at home at the moment, except for maybe the no, but not even the heel. Um, they'll live in my purse. I don't really have a purse, but like in my bag, and or in my car, or I'll just have them with me wherever I go. But at home, they're not going to play that much of a role. So this, I have the leg finished and a little bit of the heel, and that's my second sock. There you go. Oops. You can see my Knit Pro Zings I'm using for that, and my little donut stitch marker. Not stitch marker necessarily, progress keeper, because again, I use it to count rows. But okay, so yeah, that's that. That's my two sock projects. I have to say, over spring, I fell into a knitting slump. I don't know why. It's weird, and it hit me so hard, like it hasn't in a long time, like really. Um, because I don't know why, but I got ill, and I was basically like I had to basically lie in bed for a week, and I felt so miserable. It wasn't so bad, but I was just so drained of energy. I wasn't ill, but I felt like every little thing I had to do throughout the day was way too much for me. And so I spent a lot of time in bed, and over in the course of the week it got a little bit better. And then when the next week came, it was okay. I was back to sort of on my feet, to sort of normal. But over this week, I don't think I knit anything at all. And the urge to knit didn't come back for quite a while. The desire to knit also really took its time. And it was a time where I read every day, but I really didn't knit. And I didn't even notice in the beginning. And then after a few days, I noticed and I thought, oh man, I haven't knit in 5 days. And that is unheard of. It doesn't happen in my life. And when I realized, I thought, oh, should I do something about it? But I really didn't want to do anything about it. And I just tried to just let it go and thought, oh, it's going to come back, don't sweat it. But it was weird. I felt weird and not really like myself. I mean, because I was really feeling very much under the weather. But um, I remember I really had to actively, maybe in week 3 or something crazy like that, I was at the point where I actively picked up my needles occasionally to knit one round on my sock or maybe two, but where I thought, let's knit a round or two. It wasn't like I automatically grabbed it or thought, okay, I have a pocket of time. Where's my knitting? But it was more like, maybe I should now grab my knitting to some time, to eventually get back out of that slump. And it took me maybe 2 weeks or so to really feel that desire again. So all in all, it was there were many weeks where knitting wasn't really something that was very important in my everyday, and that is very weird. It also felt very weird. Okay, I've made it out. I've made it through, but um, that was weird. And I'm not back to being that maniac knitter that I was before. Maybe it's also summer, where you have many things going on outdoors. I don't know, but yeah. And my last, so that is a cast on post knitting slump. My last cast on is a super boring project because it's a Sophie scarf. I know. I know. You've seen 500 of them and you don't need to see another, but I'm sorry. I cast on a Sophie scarf and I wanted to knit a scarf. I have been wanting to knit a scarf for many months now, and I could not make up my mind about which yarn weight. I didn't want to buy new yarn for that. But I also was not crazy about the things that I had. And I kept going through my stash over the months, and I kept looking at, I don't have an overwhelming stash, so I could access all my yarn relatively quickly, even though I think I really want to reduce the amount of yarn that I have. But it's not it's not crazy big, my stash, that is. And so I could access it relatively quickly again and again. I kept looking at everything and I thought, I don't want to use this because I know this is for a specific sweater project, and it would be a pity to just break apart the sweater's quantity that I'm looking forward to knitting up. I don't want to knit this because it's just the wrong color. I don't know, this is such a flimsy yarn. So it's going to take me 5 years to knit the scarf. This is way too heavy. I only have one ball of that, so I would have to order more, but I kind of don't want to do that. And I kept, you know, dancing around my stash and thinking about everything, and and nothing felt right. And I am a seasoned enough knitter now that I know if it doesn't feel right in the beginning, it's not going to be right at any point during the project. So I knew it had to be the right yarn. And when you know it, you know it. But I didn't feel it. So eventually I thought of, so I'm no, I cannot use the gerund form here. So I cast on a while back. I cast on my second Marled Magic shawl, and I have not knit on it in quite a while. I'm still going to do it, and it's knit in sections. So I kind of knit one section, put it away, knit another, put it away. So I'm not knitting on it, but I have a bag full of yarn scraps just for that purpose. And it just, so that's why it wasn't visible to me in my stash. And then I thought of it. I thought of a beautiful blue yarn. Look at that color. Look at it. Isn't it perfect? Isn't it just perfect? Even though now there's mohair on it, but it is perfect. And I thought of that. And I thought this color would be really amazing. But it's again Hamburger Wollfabrik. So that's like exactly one of those cones like for my blue um, um, tea. And but the yarn was too thin. I thought this is not going to work. I have to hold it double at least. And I pulled this one out of my bag for the Marled Magic and thought I don't have to use it for that. I can do something else with it, especially because I'm not knitting on the Marled Magic actively right now. And then I knew I had all sorts of single skein mohair leftovers or partial, balls of yarn, leftover mohair leftovers. Okay. And so this was bigger, like a half, maybe 12 grams or so of mohair. And I thought if I'm going to hold this double, it's still going to be pretty delicate. But since mohair has a little bit of fluff, it will fill in a bit. And I will finally have a project to use all of those odd leftovers. Because what do you do with even just one ball of mohair? Nothing. I do knit hats, but I'm not a big hat knitter. I mean, I've knit so many hats, but I don't always have a hat on the go. It's a project for me. Now I'm going to knit a hat. So it's not going to just go in a hat. Um, I don't knit socks with mohair. I don't knit mittens with mohair. I don't know what to do with a single ball of mohair for a sweater. Um, so yeah, I had to find a solution, and that was the solution. That was it. I cast on a Sophie scarf holding this beautiful blue yarn double with one leftover mohair scrap at a time, and when I run out, I'll just attach the new one and use it all up, and that's what it looks like. That's my Sophie scarf that I have so far. Especially, as you can imagine, I especially love this portion, and I used the tiniest scrap for the tip. Oh, I don't know if you can really tell. So that I get a little pop of light pink, but it's a different pink than this one. So I went from this pink to this beautiful color, and it's my favorite combination. I'll show you up close. Then I went for basically a black mohair. God knows where that comes from. I didn't buy it. I think it's another scrap that I adopted from my mother-in-law. Because she often gives me her scraps, which is mostly really appreciated. And so that's that portion. And here I'm going to hold it up close because you really have to look closely. Maybe you can see how the black and this dark yet vibrant blue turn the whole thing into a bit of it gives it like a purple sheen, a little glow, you know, depending on the light. I mean, in daylight, it looks purpley. In artificial light in the evening, it just kind of looks black. But I think it's so pretty the way it pairs together. And so when I ran out of that, I put in my pink yarn. So I have this pink and blue together, which looks busier, more uneven sort of than the others just because it's not so subdued. And the marling effect just becomes a little bit stronger. And I have my little golden tree to mark the right side, so the increase side. And also, yeah, to mark the last increase because you increase every so many rounds and then it's easy to count. I am now at a good 60 stitches overall. This is, what is this? So it's a CHAOGO red lace for sure, but what's the needle size? I want to say 3.75. Oh my God, who can read this? Yeah, it's a 3.75 needle. Oh my God. I mean, it's nice that they put it in here in such a way that it doesn't rub off, but it's so hard to read. Anyway, this is yeah, well, it doesn't matter. It's a bit um loose. If I were to go back, I would go for, well, maybe a 3.5 needle, 3.25 even, 3.5 probably. But I'm not going, I mean, I was at like at this point maybe when I thought, do I want to go back? Is this going to be too big of a fabric for me? And I thought, no, I'm not. I'm picking the mohair held double because that's just, a pain in the butt. And I didn't want to do that. So I just keep going. And I'm at about the halfway point. And so I weighed my cone. Unfortunately, I'm not exactly sure how much this cardboard cone weighs. It would have been so easy to just write it down or remember it or put it on Ravelry after I finished my other project, and I didn't. I did weigh it. I just didn't save that knowledge. And I think it was about 35 grams. So I play with that number. So I use that number and try to hit the not quite halfway point. So I gave myself a few grams of leeway. And then I will, because you increase and then until you decrease. So I try to hit the just about the halfway point and then I start decreasing again, trying to make sure that I don't run out of this blue yarn. I'd rather have like 5 grams left over than not make it. And that's going to be, I think I'm like 4 or 5 grams away from that mark. So just a few more increases and then I'm off to the decreases. And then I know this is going to be a fast project. The only thing now is that I hope I'm going to like it when it's done. And because I mean, I like it now, but I don't know how I like it sort of styled as a scarf. And oh man, that's annoying. And also, I hope I have enough mohair. But I'm sure I can always find more when I dig into my yarn stash. I have this white and an entire ball, I want to say, or almost an entire ball of this dark gray. So I think I should be good. And what else? This lives in my basket, like in one of those baskets. And I just carry it around from room to room, or also I carry it into the car like this and back out of the car. So that's um, that's where that project lives, and that's my Sophie scarf. I hope next time we talk, you'll see it maybe even off my needles or much progressed. It's these days it's what I'm working on exclusively at home. On the go, I work on my socks, the purple ones, the with the pink. Um, or it depends. I work on any of those sock projects. At home, I work on this. And that is that. My tea's empty. An hour is surely up. So I'm at the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for coming back after I've been away for so long. I hope it's not going to be that long before I'm back here. And I want to thank you so much for, checking out this channel if you're here for the first time or for coming back, for, hanging out with me, for letting me hang out with you. And I hope you have beautiful things to knit on over the summer if it's summer for you, or you can cozy up with your knitting if it's winter where you are. And well, happy knitting. The world is a crazy crazy place right now, hold on to your knitting. Okay, it's there to comfort you, to give you a moment of rest, peace, flow, meditation, even. It's there to center you, to help you um, through all this craziness with something tangible in your hands and something that gives you purpose and strength. Okay, so we're all in this together. I am really looking forward to talking to you again. Thank you so much for being here today. And if you want to, feel free to like and subscribe below and come back for another video. Until then, take care and I'll talk to you soon, I hope. Bye.